Nearly every phone launched in India priced at around 15,000 rupees or even lower is perfectly capable of running modern games smoothly. The whole reason that games like PUBG Mobile are so popular is that they can run on nearly any device. So do you really need to spend over 50,000 rupees on a gaming phone? The question really is, do you just want to play games or do you want to get really good at them? You're watching Gadgets 360. My name is Jamshed Avari and this is my review of the brand new Asus ROG Phone 3. Before we begin though, please do remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you know whenever we post a new video. The ROG Phone 3 is designed primarily around gaming, even if that comes at the cost of conventional features and attributes such as slimness and versatility. It's still meant for hardcore gamers, but it won't make you feel as though you've sacrificed everything else that a flagship phone is supposed to deliver. That being said, this is a large, bulky phone. Slimness is generally valued for a high-end device, but the ROG Phone 3 needs to make room for its 6000 mAh battery and a robust cooling system that lets the processor run at full speed for extended periods. That means this is a heavy phone weighing in at 240 grams. Let's quickly list the specs of the ROG Phone 3. You have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus SoC, which we are reviewing for the first time by the way, paired with up to 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of internal storage. India sadly won't get the top-of-the-line variant with a whopping 16 GB of RAM and 512 GB of storage, probably because it would be way too expensive. At the front, you have this respectable 6.59-inch 144Hz AMOLED display. There's no notch or hole, so nothing comes in the way of your gaming experience. A major highlight of this panel is its 270Hz touch sampling rate and 25 millisecond touch latency, which are said to be advantages for reaction time in games. Now, on the sides of this display are these front-facing speakers which are a bit disappointing, despite Asus's hype. Sound is generally tinny and lacking at the low end, though it did get very loud. Moving to the sides, you find one of the ROG Phone's signature features, AirTriggers. With this generation, you can not only tap and hover but also slide, swipe and split each one into two zones. This gives you 4-finger control similar to a gamepad's trigger buttons. There's also an assignable shake gesture and a squeeze that triggers Asus's own X mode for better performance. The logo at the back is RGB backlit, but the look overall is a bit toned down compared to the two previous ROG Phone models. Now let's just skip right to gaming performance. PUBG Mobile defaulted to the HD graphics setting and high frame rate, but I raised these to HDR and Extreme respectively. I saw no decline in performance or responsiveness, though the phone did get noticeably warmer over the course of a match. Everything ran buttery smooth and I noticed that the battery dipped by 8% after a round that lasted around 20 minutes. Asphalt 9 Legends loaded lightning fast and there wasn't even the slightest hiccup in the menus or screen transitions. Races were perfectly fluid and with only two controls to remember, the AirTriggers worked very well. It was easy to play track after track without any concerns. I tried several other demanding games including Metal Madness, Dead Trigger 2 and Iron Blade. All of these ran at the highest possible graphics quality settings. Coming to software, this phone runs Android 10. Everything is dark by default including the menus and the stock apps. I didn't much care for the icon style and found the rings around each icon rather unnecessary. There are tons of software customizations though, most of which are primarily designed around gaming, but the usefulness carries over into other situations. Then there's the X mode, which basically lets the SoC override its usual heat and power restrictions. You can customize this, but the most extreme setting requires you to purchase and use the Aero Active Cooler accessory. You can activate this by squeezing the phone's sides. The ROG Phone 3's battery management features are well worth calling attention to. Very fast charging is known to degrade overall battery health, so Asus lets you disable this manually and set an overnight schedule so you don't overcharge. Now, coming to the cameras. Previous ROG Phone models were all about the core specifications optimized for gaming, leaving just an okay-ish camera on the back. This time you get a 64-megapixel primary camera accompanied by a 13-megapixel ultra-wide camera and a 5-megapixel macro camera as well. Photos taken in the daytime came out extremely sharp and detailed. On the other hand, the ROG Phone 3 sometimes didn't get the exposure quite right when shooting close-ups, particularly with bright subjects against darker backgrounds. Textures on objects within the focus area came out looking great. The wide-angle camera took decent shots, but of course detail was much poorer when comparing shots. I had some trouble locking focus with the macro camera, but the shots that did work wound up looking fantastic, with the backgrounds looking naturally blurred and not pixelated. On the front, there's a 24 megapixel front camera. Selfies were quite good except when shooting against the light. Beautification is thankfully not enabled by default. The primary camera once again did a superb job. Scenes shot at night were generally bright and details were crisp even with minimal light falling on subjects. Noise was well under control. The wide-angle camera didn't do as well but still produced usable shots. Video recording goes up to 8K 30fps or 4K HDR 60fps. One thing that's missing is optical stabilization for any of the cameras. 1080p video looked very crisp and smooth in the daytime. The wide-angle camera captures much duller and grainier footage, but you can switch between the two while shooting at 1080p. 4K video had a very warm tone and everything looked harsh, though motion was smooth. The shimmer effect when walking at night was magnified, though standing still and panning didn't create problems. To sum it all up, you have a really smooth display, although it's Full HD+, a top-of-the-line processor, plenty of RAM and storage, a respectable camera system, and a massive battery. And then you have all the other little niceties like AirTriggers, software optimisations, and several accessories that might or might not help you be the best of gamers. To be perfectly honest, there are plenty of phones that cost less and are sleeker and easier to live with. Your choices include the OnePlus 8 series, the Xiaomi Mi 10 5G, the Realme X50 Pro, and several previous generation flagships such as the Samsung Galaxy S10 series. Any of these phones would run games well enough for 99% of people, but if you're in that 1%, you should really think about the Asus ROG Phone 3. Thanks for watching, that was our review, and of course for all things tech, do remember to stay tuned to gadgets360.com.